Defenders, Episode 6, Season 1. Now, this episode's called Ashes, Ashes. We're going to talk about, we're going to be talking about spoilers, so if you've not seen it, be warned. We've already reviewed the first 5 episodes, so check them out if you have not already. Now, I like this episode. It was pretty good. It didn't end the way I particularly wanted it to end. We'll get there. We'll talk about that when we get there, but overall, for the most part, it was a pretty good episode. There were some compelling and interesting things going on, but like I said, the ending was not particularly to my liking and taste.
I love the first scene, too, where we see Alexandra listening to the record, and then she's kind of sitting there just kind of contemplating, and it starts skipping. And I just thought that was very kind of like foreshadowing to actually what he was talking about, how at the end, you know, she kind of bites it. But we'll get there at that point. But I thought that was a cool scene to show that kind of foreshadowing and just how concerned she was.
Yeah, and also I like the look in her face. Like, it shows that she's finally like losing control and doesn't have a grip on everything that's going on. So that's what I love to like the conveyance on her face, the way she's selling. That's why I love Sigourney Weaver so much as an actress. She's so good at, even when she doesn't say anything, you can tell immediately what she's thinking. That's what a really good actor or actress does. So I like just that little scene alone was really good.
And a lot of her scenes too has just had very powerful music. And so now to see the music kind of skipping a little bit is like, you know,
it's a good like artistic moment of showing that she's losing control. Absolutely. Also, I thought it was really interesting and cool when or not cool, but actually really dramatic and compelling again, seeing that conflict within the group, because now the group has learned, and Stick has also learned, that they need the Iron Fist in order to achieve their goals.
He's to open the door. Because in an earlier episode, I like kind of missed it before, but they were talking about, you know, a wall, and she was like, no, it's a door. Well, we know now that the Iron Fist is the key that they need to open that door.
Right, because the original Iron Fist sealed that door with his Iron Fist, so only it can be opened with another Iron Fist. An Iron Fist. But what I thought was really interesting was how like unhinged and how angry Danny was becoming when they told him to calm down. Like, he was becoming so angry, I thought he was going to turn into the Incredible Hulk. You know, like he was really losing it there.
I feel like they could have handled it a little bit better, just the way they were kind of saying like they almost like were attacking him. I get why he felt threatened, but then you know a fight kind of just breaks out between them, and it was cool to see them fight a little bit too. I thought the reason why could have been a little better, but it was kind of cool seeing them fight each other. And then we see Jessica and Matt kind of doing a little more investigation into kind of what's going on, and they go over to that woman in that little girl's house, and
the architect who had the bombs, and John something, I forgot his name.
Yeah, but anyway, they kind of are talking to the daughter, and we see Jessica bonding with her a little bit, and she tells that story about Matt's dad, about him being a good guy, and you know that's kind of them getting a little closer to each other, and then Matt also finds the plans to the hole basically in the piano, so they're finding out more about kind of what's going on with the hand, what they're doing in Midland Circle, and kind of what's going on down there. Because he's obviously known about the hole for a while, but he thought it was just kind of over with. I guess he didn't forget about it, but he kind of thought it was done. But.
Definitely. And if you listen to the music when Matt's playing, it's actually the Daredevil theme music from the show, so that's really cool when Matt's doing that. Also, what I like about Jessica Jones sharing the story, you're right, it does build up that chemistry in their relationship, and it progresses it in a really good way. But it shows Jessica Jones' investigative side, that how she really is a private detective. True. And she can figure things out on her own, and how smart and how intellectual she is. So I love that it shows, and you know how she's got resources on her side. So I just love seeing like that she's able to do that. And again, it just really does a good way in rebuilding up that relationship. Also, I liked how Jessica Jones kind of took, you know, it wasn't a major theme or rather major plot point in this season, but I felt like she did, like you said, take a liking to Lexi. And the reason I felt that way is she saw a little bit of herself in Lexi, you know, that dry humor, rebellious girl who thinks she's a badass. So I thought that was a really cool and interesting note. Even though it wasn't a big thing in any of these episodes or the season, I thought that was really interesting how Jessica, you know, took that liking to her, like, because she saw a little bit of herself in Lexi. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I really like that scene too with Luke and Danny when Danny's being held captive and Luke's kind of just watching over him. And they're also starting to bond a little bit too. They kind of talk about their own things, what's going on, and they definitely start to bond a little bit, like we had kind of seen earlier. But this was definitely more of them just kind of getting, like we just saw Matt and Jessica bond a little bit. These two are getting to bond too.
And this again is keeps putting to my point what I said in the past in the review of the last episode of episode 5. I really want to see a Heroes for Hire episode. Just the way they were interacting again in that scene just kept on making me think I want to see Heroes for Hire. And I loved how they were going over things that we've seen as an audience, previous interactions or things that have happened to them. Because you had, Danny ran talking about what I really want to see in season 2 of Iron Fist, his battle with Shao Lao the dragon. Also, we had Luke Cage talking about the rocket launcher that was being fired at him, and also when Jessica Jones fired the shotgun in his face. So, I mean, it's really cool when they're...
I'd take a dragon over Jessica any day.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, that was a great line. I like that line, too. But,
Yeah.
again, just like you said, again, building up those relationships, telling each other those past stories, and then Stick even mentions to Luke, he's not, don't buy his stories or something like that. Like, don't buy it. He's still a prisoner right now or something like that.
Well, we see that, Stick has
Obviously,
kind of been planning something a little
Right.
bit.
Yeah, he basically makes Luke go to sleep because he finally realizes exactly what the Hand is going to do with Danny Rand and with the Iron Fist, and he cannot allow that to happen. So he goes to a plan where he tries to kill Danny, and then Elektra gets there, and then Matt tries to intervene, and we see Stick, and I kind of obviously saw what was going to happen. I'm sure most of you did too, with during the scene where Elektra finally kills Stick, and it was definitely an emotional moment because
that's right when Matt walked in too, and he's like, don't do this. And then honestly, I thought she kind of, right when she saw Jessica walk in, she just went for it.
And also, it not only is it an emotional moment because Stick is a character that, we're invested in this point because we've seen him since season 1 of Daredevil, and he's obviously a very big part of Elektra and Matt's life. So again, what I liked about his death was it advances the storyline in an interesting way that makes it compelling.
She basically beats them all up and captures Iron Fist, brings them back to the Hand's headquarters. Right as actually kind of all the Hand were starting to turn on, or no, it was when Murakami was talking to her, like when she was eating. He's like, I want your last meal to be a good one. So he's basically saying he was going to kill her.
Yeah.
And then right at that time, Elektra drags in Iron Fist. So she's like, well, you know what? I always win. And then I forget what happened. Oh, she tells Elektra to go kill the rest of them. And that's when Elektra goes in and grabs those sais that she used in Daredevil season 2, and then
she had her eyes on those sais.
Eyes on the sais, and then she took her prize.
Runs.
When she took her prize,
that
and she killed Alexandra. So, kind of an interesting twist, a little bit.
I get what they were going for with the twist of Alexandra dying 2 episodes early, but again, it didn't feel personally necessary to me. It didn't rub me or hit me the right way. And I get what they were going for. They had to make it where Elektra becomes the big baddie because now it creates even more conflict with Matt, like what he ultimately has to do. If you're gonna kill off the character of Alexandra, I just would have preferred it happens maybe at the end of episode 7 or middle of episode 8. And again, I don't know if I like the whole idea of. I understand what they were going for with Elektra. She heard him say, "Killed the devil of Hell's Kitchen." That's like big no-no in Elektra's eyes. His name is Matthew. Like, I got what they were going for there. I don't know. I just thought there could have been a different and more interesting way of having her die. And I don't know. That didn't rub me personally the right way. And I didn't like how it happened at episode 6 instead of at the end of episode 7 or maybe midway through episode 8. So that's just me, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an interesting twist. And now we're obviously going to be seeing Elektra because she's like, I'm in charge now. So we'll see what happens with that. And, it definitely was an interesting choice killing off Sigourney's character early, but I would have liked a little bit better payoff with her because now everything we've, kind of watched her go through is, not for nothing, but it just doesn't really matter anymore, so. Yeah. Because I like the way they built her up. It's just they never gave her that kind of moment to really be evil. So, but anyways, this episode was good. I thought it was, definitely interesting because of that ending, but overall still seeing them kind of torn apart a little bit, and then them working their way back together slowly. So we'll have to see how the last 2 episodes go. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Let us know what you thought about it in the comments section, and if you like these videos, you can hit the subscribe button.
See you guys next time.